Hello, welcome to Caldwell County Today. I'm Paige Counts, Public Information Officer for Caldwell County. Today I have with me Lisa Cavness with Caldwell Hospice and Palliative Care, and Lisa's going to talk with us about National Healthcare Decision Day. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Paige.
I'm going to start with the obvious question, Lisa. What is National Healthcare Decision Day?
I'm so glad you asked. It is a day that has been designated once a year on April 16th, the day after Tax Day. And the date, they decided to use that date because of a Benjamin Franklin quote, but there's nothing certain in life but death and taxes. And very often, April 15th is normally our tax day. And you're thinking about getting things in order. And this is another thing that's very important to get in order, and that is your health care decisions. And by that I mean wishes of how your health care, if you're not able to speak for yourself, making those wishes known to somebody who can speak for you when you can't speak for yourself.
Lisa, where should someone start in making these decisions?
It starts with a conversation. And it's an awkward conversation sometimes and uncomfortable sometimes, but it's so important. And just get the conversation started. Caldwell Hospice and the Caldwell Senior Center offers a monthly advanced care planning workshop that will kind of give you an overview of what advanced care planning is and the documents that are included, and just give you some information. And that's a great way to start the conversation is, I went to this workshop, let me tell you about it. Or this, if I was in a situation, just say this is what I would do. If I was in a situation and I couldn't speak for myself, this is what I would want you to do. And that opens the door to make them start thinking or help them start. And then they say, what would you want if it were you? And I think that's an easy way to kind of get it started. And once it's started, it's not so difficult.
And maybe you don't want to have the entire conversation in one day. Maybe it needs to be broken up over several days or several.
True. Maybe you need to plant some seeds.
Plant some seeds to get it started. Because some people don't like to talk about end of life. Right. It's hard for all of us, but it is an important conversation to have.
Absolutely.
When people are completing the documents, I'm just talking about documents in general, what kind of information are they filling out?
Well, advanced care planning really consists of usually two documents, a living will and a health care power of attorney, which is just gives somebody else the rights to make health care decisions. It's not financial or anything else, just health care for you if you're unable to. Sometimes instead of in the place of one of those is the most form, which it goes into a little more detail of considering things like feeding tubes, ventilators, those kind of things. And it kind of walks you through, and you can customize those, and you can go back and change them. So it's not like you're locked in. You think, if I change my mind, if you have a change of heart about an area, you can always change that.
Right. It's not like these are forever decisions. It's probably something you need to review every April 16th if you have them in place.
That's a great idea.
When you ask someone to be your healthcare power of attorney, what specifically are you asking them to do?
You are asking them to carry out your wishes, and so that also means you need to let them know what your wishes are, and it needs to be somebody that is willing to carry out your wishes and not their wishes. If you're talking to somebody and they say, I know exactly, this is what you need to do, that's not a good situation. They need to say, what do you want? And be willing and strong enough to say, I'll do that if we're in that situation. And you're not giving them control over all your health care forever and evermore. If you're in a situation, say you're in a car accident, you're on a ventilator, you're in a coma, or you're unconscious, and they don't see there's options of things to do, they know what you would want done in that situation. So,
do you name just one healthcare power of attorney, or is there an opportunity to name alternates?
They recommend more than one because, say, if a husband-wife, if the wife is the husband's and they're in an accident together, it's good to have multiple, especially like if there's siblings, and it doesn't have to be a family member. It very often is, but it doesn't have to be.
Does the person that you appoint as your healthcare power of attorney have to live in your same state?
Not necessarily, but they've just got to have a way to get in touch with them. So.
And should these documents be filed anywhere? Should you give them to your doctor? Anything like that?
Yeah, they recommend, give them to the doctor, give them to your healthcare power of attorney, of course. Have some copies that are easily accessible so that if they're needed, it's easy to get to them. Your safety deposit box is not the place for these.
Right, these need to be somewhere where you can find them.
Right.
In your house where important papers are. And your healthcare power of attorney probably needs to know where that place is.
Right.
Who should complete these documents?
Well, we think all adults should complete these documents.
It's really not something you save until you are what we call now a senior adult.
Right.
Or you're facing end of life.
Right. And one thing that I used to think primarily, and I think a lot of people do, I want my wishes known, and this is from that approach. But this is really a gift for your family. You need to do it not only so your wishes are honored, but it takes that burden off your family. So if there is a situation that you can't speak for yourself and some difficult decisions need to be made, they know what you want, and it's not. There's a lot of anguish that goes in. Would they want this? Would they not want this? They know, and as hard as it still is, that takes a lot of pressure off.
And as I'm thinking about this, if someone, say, is in a coma, can't speak for themselves, but then they recover, is the healthcare power of attorney still speaking for them?
No. Whenever it only is in place if they cannot speak for themselves.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about a living will.
Okay.
Tell me, broad picture, what is a living will?
Well, the living will specifies the things that you want that healthcare power of attorney to enforce or make known, which includes some of the things we talked about, like feeding tubes, ventilators, those type of things.
So really, it's a pretty progressive. I mean, it outlines your wishes.
Right.
And do you have to fill out both documents?
Not necessarily, but it's a good idea too, because they kind of go hand in hand, because the healthcare power of attorney enforces what's in the living will or the most form, and so it helps both sides.
It does help both sides. I'm looking over my questions here that I jotted down from Lisa. The Advanced Care Planning Workshop, Senior Center does it on a monthly basis, and I know we've talked to April about that. It's a virtual.
It is, since the COVID environment that we're all living in right now, that became virtual. And we still do it in partnership with the Senior Center. Materials, we provide the living booklet that gives an overview and the documents themselves. And you can pick those up at the Senior Center, or they'll mail them either way. And you still register with the Senior Center like you did before. But then we send you a Zoom link and have a virtual workshop. So.
And in that booklet, if I remember correctly, if you're still using the same booklet that I
are.
remember, it gives you some real good tips for starting conversations with your family.
It does.
And helps you to have that conversation, and some of the fears that your family may have, some of the concerns, it helps you to address those, which it's a really good resource.
It is. And we have those available if you're not interested in coming to one of the workshops, but you want to learn more about it. We can provide the book, and you can review that and then decide maybe later you do want to go through the workshop.
And it's really never too early for adults to make these decisions.
Right. There's a phrase that we use a lot on our promotional materials for the advanced care planning workshops, and that it always seems too early until it's too late. Mm-hmm. And I thought that's very Very true.
It is very true. And a lot of times we think of this as being a very sad conversation. And it is a very scary conversation, but it really, like you said earlier, is a gift you're giving your family.
Right.
So think of it that way, as a gift. And these documents, when you complete them, they have to be notarized, correct? But because Hospice and Senior Center work together so well, they've got that figured out for you in the virtual world.
We do. Before, when we would have the live workshops, we had notary available, and if you chose to finish your documents there in the clinic or workshop, we would notarize them right then. But in the virtual version, you can just call and we'll set up an appointment and make that available to you.
Okay.
Or you can get them notarized if wherever you choose that you're paying for. But we can provide that as well.
So really, it is a one-stop shop, so to speak.
It is. But with that in mind, if you go through the workshop and you think, I want to think about it, that's okay, because we have people come back multiple times. Sometimes they come they're ready, they know what they want, and I'm here to do it. But it's okay if you're not at that point. So we'll meet you where you are.
Meet you where you are. As we wrap this up, what is the best advice you can give people about their advanced care planning?
Start the conversation. Just get it started and go from there.
Okay, Lisa. Is there anything else we haven't covered today?
I think you've asked all the right questions.
I've asked all the questions. I told Lisa I might go down.
If you could just give the phone number to call at the Senior Center to register if they're interested.
Sure. That phone number is 758-2883 to register for the Advanced Care Planning Workshop. And they'll be happy to send you that virtual link and help you use Zoom, or I think that's the platform they use.
It is.
They will even instruct you on how to do that. And I believe if you don't have a computer, they can help you with how to call in and listen to the workshop.
That's true.
So don't let COVID, this being a virtual workshop, stop you from doing this. Go ahead, get registered. If you can't do it in April, definitely sign up for May. It's the second Thursday of each month.
Right.
Lisa, thank you for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And I would encourage everyone, as National Healthcare Decision Day is approaching, if you've done your healthcare directives, pull them out and take a look at them. Make sure they're still what you want. If you haven't done them, start the conversation with your family. And thank you for watching Caldwell Today.